Chelsea are after Oblak, Tuchel wants Rashford, Atalanta hit form at the right time, a transfer roundup and today's great debate all coming up in the next few minutes as I'm your host Matt Folick, you are the Onefootballers and this is the Daily News. So first up, and apparently the long-standing argument between Chelsea and Kepa might finally be over as Frank Lampard looks to bring in Atletico Madrid's Jan Oblak. This is a rather interesting transfer because it really would mean Oblak goes from being one of, if not the best goalkeepers in La Liga to a team which definitely isn't the best in England. He would definitely be a starter, that's completely without question, whether or not Kepa does leave the club. If he does, it'll be a good bit of money that Chelsea can go and spend on Oblak, and if he doesn't, well, he's actually going to face a long spell on the bench. Oblak definitely is better than Kepa, but is he actually going to move to Chelsea? Well, it probably depends on whether or not they manage to get Champions League football. Last night, a 1-0 victory over Norwich only strengthened their grip on third place, and it looks like they will be able to secure Champions League football for next season. When that's all said and done, they can then go in with a reported bid of around €100 million. Now, it's not unlike Chelsea to go ahead and spend big, and it's not unlike them to go ahead and spend big on a goalkeeper. The current record transfer is the money that they pay to Athletic Bilbao for Kepa at the moment. So you can kind of see why they go ahead and do it. And when it comes to Oblak, for me, it's a no-brainer. Even with the impacts of COVID, even with the fact that €100 million is a ridiculous amount for a goalkeeper, you're buying like the best goalkeeper in the world, bar one or two others. And he's gonna be good. And he's gonna last a long time. Like, it would be a really, really good move. My only question is that surely there'd be other teams interested if they knew that Oblak was available for sale. What it also would mean is that Atletico Madrid would then have a hell of a lot of money to go and improve the rest of their squad, especially in attack. But talking of big moves for €100 million or more, that is apparently the move that PSG could make if they want to bring in Manchester United's Marcus Rashford. There have been reports that Thomas Tuchel sees him as a fantastic player and almost thinks that the English media and the English players don't really appreciate just how good he is. I'm not so sure that's the case, seeing that everyone is in unison with agreeing that Marcus Rashford is an unbelievable footballer. Anyway, Tuchel has said that he thinks he is a brilliant player, and who knows, maybe he could replace the outgoing Neymar or Mbappe should they decide to leave PSG. Now, of course, the standard of the league isn't quite what it is in the Premier League, but Rashford would be moving for a hell of a lot of money. And also, he'd be moving to a team that is going to win trophies year in, year out, even if it's not the Champions League. And Manchester United may not even be in the Champions League next season. But having said all that, I'm going to completely contradict myself by saying that Rashford's not going. There's just no way that a Mancunian born and bred who loves the club, who plays week in, week out, and is probably the one closest to legendary status in the team at the moment, is going to be leaving Manchester United for PSG. I mean, there were talks that Barcelona were interested in him last summer, and even then, I can't see the 22-year-old leaving for the new camp either. He's going to stay at United, probably for his whole career, become even more of a legend than he is already, and continue to bang in the goals for them and England, probably for the next 10 years at least. So there's no way I can see this move happening, even if, as suggested, PSG are willing to pay upwards of €100 million. But moving on from the transfer news and to some goal-scoring news, because last night Atalanta continued their fantastic form as they continue their run up to the end of the Serie A season, and of course, that absolute crunch match with PSG in the Champions League. And on their current form, maybe they'll just be able to beat the French champions. So, last night, Atalanta put together a 6-2 victory over Brescia, which now means that since the restart of football, they've played 8 games, they've drawn 1 against Juventus, which, in all honesty, they probably could have won, and they've won the other 7, including victories over Napoli and Lazio. They now jump into second place, having scored 93 Serie A goals this season, which is incredible, and 23 in their last 8 games. There's been ridiculous games this season where they scored 6, 4, 5, even a couple of 7s in there as well. If anyone is going to be able to take down PSG at the moment, it looks like Atalanta have got the best shot for exposing PSG's defence. This is surely going to be a very, very interesting game in what is maybe the slightly weaker side of the draw, especially with Atletico Madrid against RB Leipzig being the other quarter-final in that branch of the Champions League. What it does mean, though, is that can you imagine if we saw Atalanta in the semi-final, or even the final? It'd be absolute madness. Anyway, we'll get talking about the Champions League in just a little bit, but for now, we're on to a quick roundup of the rest of the day's news. So first off, Pierre-Emile Højbjerg, the former Southampton captain, really wants to move to Tottenham, and it looks like the North London club could be looking at a deal which would see Kyle Walker-Peters go the other way on a more permanent basis. He is, of course, alone at St Mary's at the moment. Elsewhere, and there are reports in Italy that Napoli have finally agreed the deal to sign 21-year-old Victor Osimhen from Lille in a deal that is going to be worth around 80 million euros. On top of this, last night there were more goal action as unbelievably struggling Wigan Athletic beat struggling Hull 8-0. This equals a championship record for the biggest victory, equal with Bournemouth's 8-0 victory over Birmingham. The most shocking thing about it is that Wigan was 7-0 up at half-time. Honestly, what was said in the dressing room at half-time? Like, what on earth could Hull say? Go out there and give it a good second half? Try and win the second half? Maybe salvage a point by scoring 7? Unbelievable stuff. Honestly, for a relegated and threatened team like Wigan, who have gone into administration and facing a 12-point deduction, that is some seriously good form. And lastly but not least, well, things are looking rather difficult for Newcastle United at the moment concerning their £300 million takeover from the Saudi Arabian private investment fund. Basically, Qatar-owned beIN Sports, they're the ones that show the Premier League in the Middle East, have had their contract pulled from Saudi Arabia, and there was calls from the UK government to look into potential piracy concerns from Saudi Arabia when it comes to showing live sports, including the Premier League. Things are getting a little bit dicey, and I'm not so sure whether the takeover is actually going to happen. So all those random transfers we were talking about, like Bale, Cavani, Koulibaly, and all sorts going to Newcastle, sorry guys, it might not happen. You might still be left with Mike Ashley, and you might still have the same ownership and the same players come next season. So moving on, and finally to this week's great debate. This is where the guys in the Onefootball newsroom pose a question to all of you, and you can find my and their relevant answers in the article in the Onefootball app, which you can actually download now for free on the App Store. But for the comment section, we want to know, who do you think will win the Champions League? Now, obviously, we've spoken about it before, the Champions League being played over one game, just 90 minutes, rather than 2 legs, does make a big difference, but I still think you'd be hard-pressed to find anyone who's going to be able to beat Bayern Munich over 90 minutes. Like I mentioned before, with the whole PSG, Atalanta, Leipzig, Atletico, them having the easier side of the draw, on Bayern Munich's side of the draw, there's the winner of Real Madrid against Manchester City. There's also the winner of Napoli against Barcelona, and on top of this, there could be Juventus in there as well, who've got to turn around a second leg against Lyon. Despite this though, Bayern Munich were in ridiculous form. They had a brilliant game away against Chelsea. Obviously, they've still got to do the second leg, but it looks like they won't be losing that. And since the return of football, they've managed to seal a domestic double with the Bundesliga and the DFB Pokal as well. Hansi Flick's side look unstoppable at the moment, and for me, they are the favourites to win the Champions League. So there you have it. You guys let me know your thoughts in the comment section below on the great debate and the rest of today's daily news. Whilst you're at it, you can smash the like button and click here or here to check out all of the other videos we've got going on Onefootball. But until next time, I will see you guys later.